Spotify loses money, yet it dominates the music industry. Every month, hundreds of millions of people open the app, press play, and barely think about the business behind it. But Spotify isn't just a music app, it's one of the most aggressive subscription experiments ever built, and its entire strategy is designed around scale, not profit, at least, not yet. Spotify has over 500 million users worldwide, with more than 200 million paying subscribers. It controls roughly a third of the global music streaming market, and yet, year after year, it reports razor-thin margins or outright losses. That sounds like failure, until you realize Spotify was never built to win on profit early. It was built to win on leverage. Unlike Netflix or Amazon, Spotify doesn't own the content people come for. The music belongs to record labels. Every time you stream a song, Spotify pays royalties. Often around 70% of its revenue goes straight back out the door. The more successful Spotify becomes, the more it has to pay. So why keep pushing subscriptions so aggressively? Because Spotify isn't selling music, it's selling habit. Spotify's most powerful weapon is its free tier. Ads, limitations, and occasional friction, but full access to the catalog. This does two things simultaneously. First, it kills piracy. Spotify made illegal downloads feel unnecessary by being faster, easier, and good enough for free. Second, it builds behavioral lock-in. Playlists, recommendations, Spotify Wrapped, years of listening history. By the time users hit the limits of the free tier, upgrading feels less like a purchase and more like removing friction from something they already rely on daily. This is freemium economics at global scale. Spotify isn't optimizing for short-term revenue per user, it's optimizing for lifetime dependency. Once users convert to paid, churn is incredibly low. Music is emotional, personal. It's not something people casually cancel. Spotify's subscription pricing looks simple, but it's deeply psychological. The individual plan is priced just low enough to feel disposable. Family and student plans quietly pull average revenue per user down but massively increase household penetration. Once Spotify is installed on every device in a family, phones, laptops, smart speakers, cars, cancellation becomes a shared inconvenience. One person leaving means everyone loses playlists, recommendations, and listening history. Spotify also avoids aggressive price hikes. Small, infrequent increases are easier to absorb than sudden jumps. The goal isn't to maximize revenue per user today, it's to avoid giving people a reason to reconsider leaving at all. That restraint is strategic. Spotify's long-term bet isn't just on music, it's on becoming the default global audio platform. That's why it invested billions into podcasts, acquiring studios, exclusive shows, and high-profile creators. Podcasts fundamentally change the economics. Unlike music, Spotify doesn't pay per stream in the same way. It can own, license, or monetize podcast content directly. Every hour you spend listening to a podcast instead of music improves Spotify's margins. Audiobooks follow the same logic. More controlled content means less revenue flowing back to record labels. Spotify is slowly shifting its content mix, from low-margin licensed music to higher-margin owned or semi-owned audio, without breaking the user experience. Spotify's relationship with record labels is tense by design. Labels need Spotify's reach. Spotify needs their catalogs. Neither side can walk away, but the balance of power is shifting. Spotify has become a primary discovery engine. Artists don't just earn money from streams, they earn relevance. Playlist placement can make or break careers. That gives Spotify leverage. It can offer promotion, data insights, and audience access, things labels struggle to replicate elsewhere. Over time, this influence strengthens Spotify's negotiating position, even if the public numbers don't show it yet. Spotify doesn't need to win outright. It just needs incremental leverage, contract by contract. Spotify knows what you listen to, when you listen, how long you listen, and what you skip. That data powers one of the most advanced recommendation engines in consumer technology. This isn't just about convenience, it's about retention. Competing platforms can offer the same songs, but they can't offer your listening history, your taste profile, your habits. That data also strengthens Spotify's position with advertisers and creators. Scale produces insight. Insight produces power, and power eventually produces margin. Spotify isn't just optimizing listening, it's positioning itself as an audio operating system. Developers build integrations. Car manufacturers bake it into dashboards. Smart speakers default to Spotify Connect. Artists manage releases, analytics, and fan engagement inside Spotify's own tools. Each integration reduces friction. Each reduction increases dependency. Once Spotify becomes the default audio layer across devices, switching isn't just inconvenient, it's disruptive. That's how platforms win. In traditional business, losses signal failure. In platform economics, controlled losses can be a weapon. Spotify can afford to operate at thin margins because its competitors can't easily match its licensing costs, recommendation quality, and global reach at the same time. Smaller players struggle to scale profitably. Spotify's size keeps challengers out, while its losses discourage new ones from entering. As long as investors believe in the endgame, Spotify can keep widening the gap. Spotify isn't losing money because its model is broken. It's losing money because it's still expanding the moat. Subscriptions fund the growth. The free tier feeds the funnel. Podcasts and audiobooks rebalance margins. Data deepens lock-in. This is a company choosing dominance first and profitability later, betting that once it becomes unavoidable, the economics will finally tilt in its favor. Spotify doesn't need to own the music industry. It just needs to sit at the center of it. And once you control how the world listens, you control what comes next. This is Biz Decoded. Subscribe for more videos like this.